At least 100 people have been confirmed dead in the aftermath of devastating floods in Texas. This time lapse shows just how quickly the crisis developed. The Llano River went from normal flow to completely submerging a causeway in a matter of minutes. The flooding occurred after torrential rain on Friday, the U.S. Independence Day holiday. Close to 30 centimeters of rain fell during that storm. Now the desperate search for survivors and the heartbreak of those watching from afar.
It gives you a different purpose and sense of we're riding for those people that are suffering.
Competitors at the Calgary Stampede rocked by the deadly flooding at home. Plus, Alberta and Ontario's premiers agree to study new energy corridors and more trade.
There'll be a moment where the rubber hits the road. Like, you can only talk the talk for so long before you start putting some real action around it.
Smith and Ford say they're on the same page. Now it's up to the PM to make things happen. And celebrating a Calgary boy with a very big heart.
Henry was hoping for 11 cars. I thought maybe 100.
Henry's Hot Wheel toy drive for others on his 4th birthday is a massive success.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. An urgent search is underway for survivors in Texas after more than 100 people were killed in deadly flash flooding. Among them, dozens of children and their counselors at a Christian summer camp. People were swept to their deaths after water rose quickly. An estimated 4 months of rain in just hours. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more on the tragedy and the criticism now being levied at Washington for the slow response to the impending danger.
As the search for survivors intensifies, the full scale of this deadly disaster is coming into focus. This footage shares a glimpse of just some of the 850 life and death high water rescues that took place. Hundreds of state and federal first responders and more than a dozen K9 units are on the ground, including volunteers on foot and horseback.
If it was my babies, I'd want somebody looking, so that's why I'm here.
Dozens of children have been confirmed dead, with another 10 campers and 1 counselor, as of this morning, still missing from Camp Mystic, a Christian girls' camp.
I've lost near friends, best friends, my boss, my godchildren, my house, my car.
The camp, perched along the Guadalupe River, saw floodwaters rise 8 meters in just 45 minutes. 2 hours north in Kingsland, Texas, this time-lapse shows just how quickly floodwaters rose.
You know that your child is going to be swimming and canoes and horseback riding and doing archery and making lifetime friends. And then suddenly it turns to tragedy.
With the National Weather Service saying their flood warnings were timely and accurate, questions about weather alerts reached those most at risk remain, with the mayor of Kerrville, Texas, admitting he never received one.
Everyone here, if we could have warned them, we would have done so. And we didn't even have a warning. We did not know.
The city manager of Kerrville asked today why an evacuation order wasn't issued.
It's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
An answer that will bring little comfort to those who've lost so much.
With the U.S. president signing a major disaster declaration for Carroll County, Texas, Federal Emergency Management Agency resources have been deployed as ongoing discussions to close down FEMA are still taking place, according to a White House spokesperson today. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Washington.
More than 60 athletes competing in the Stampede Rodeo are from Texas. As Glenn Campbell reports, they're keeping a close eye on what's going on back home.
Ty Harris is on fuego!
Ty Harris got off to a great start in tie-down roping. He had the best time of the day. As nice as it was to win, Harris couldn't help but think of what's going on back home in Texas. He's from San Angelo, which wasn't the hardest hit, but has some flooding.
I'm obviously really thankful that my family is safe, you know, from everything, but that hits home. There's rodeo families that have been affected by it and different people in Texas that have been affected by it.
Harris earned $7,000 for his work on Monday, and he'd like to do something to help the victims.
You know, I always tithe 10% of what I win, whether it's 10% of what I win to I don't know if there's going to be a foundation or a GoFundMe or a Reese. I really don't know what's going on yet, but it was on my mind coming up here.
Ty's brother Joel is also competing in tie-down roping. He says there's been some damage in San Angelo, but not nearly as badly hit as some other areas. He says it's been tough watching what's going on back home.
It just affects you emotionally, and you realize that it's not, this isn't the most important thing, coming out here and competing. As important as we do make it, as fun as it is, it really puts into perspective that people are going through a really hard time, and we have friends that have had flooding in their house, and I know that a lot of lives have been lost.
63 athletes from Texas are competing in this year's Stampede Rodeo. It's a close-knit community, and they're always there to support each other and people in the affected area. Breakaway roper Jordan Joe Hollabaugh lives in Fort Worth, Texas.
Rodeo is one of the few sports that it doesn't matter if you're blood or not. When something goes on in the rodeo family, we're all hands on deck trying to help and be supportive and where we can.
And Glenn joins us from Stampede Park tonight. So Glenn, do you get a sense that more of these athletes will step up to help?
Tara, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it's going to be an organized effort, but I wouldn't doubt that some of the Cowboys and Cowgirls donate some of their earnings from here in Calgary to the relief effort. I just got word that Shad Mayfield, who was competing in Pool A, he is donating 10% of his winnings from Cowboy Christmas to the victims and the relief effort in Texas.
Wow. Okay, Glenn, thank you. We'll check in with you again a little bit later. Well, the Stampede is roaring across the city for another 6 days. And for those on the west side of downtown, sleep is being lost to a new and very loud party scene. Tyler Barrow explains.
This has been the bedtime music for Brian Owens, who lives across the street from the Cowboys tent at Cowboys Park. He shot this video at 12:30 a.m. on Saturday.
I don't mind festivals being here. What I mind is it being that loud all the way till 2 a.m.
His family lives on 11th Street Southwest. He filed a noise complaint on Friday with 311, but he is preparing for a long few days and nights.
Especially on a weeknight, when most of us that live here in this building have to work the next day.
Normally, quiet hours in the city start at 10 p.m., but the festival tent has been granted noise exemption, allowing it to play music at 85 decibels until 1:30 a.m., meaning the music can be as loud as heavy traffic or a lawnmower. After that, it must be reduced to 60 decibels, the equivalent of the buzz of an office or restaurant, and completely shut off by 2 a.m. So far, the city of Calgary has received 16 noise complaints related to the Cowboys tent. Bylaw officers have been actively monitoring the site, and to date, no infractions have been recorded. The area's councillor has been there every day.
You'll hear the noise intensity certainly loud in the center, but as you walk away from the area, the noise levels are around 70 to 80 decibel, which is within city limits. We need to recognize that we are during 10 days of Stampede. It is a festival.
CTV News did make multiple attempts to speak with the organizers for the Cowboys Music Festival. We did not hear back by our deadline. While some people are annoyed by the noise, others are dealing with the trash the 10-day party leaves behind. This was a scene in Earlton on Saturday and Sunday as garbage was littered throughout the area.
And Tyler joins us now from Cowboys Park. So Tyler, what are other officials saying about the Stampede disruptions and the inconveniences?
Tara, we did reach out to the Stampede regarding the party scene and the disturbances it's causing. We didn't hear back by our deadline. Now, Calgary police say any bylaw-related issues are being dealt with through warnings and discussions with patrons. And Councillor Terry Wong is apologizing through emails to residents for disturbances the festival is causing and says he's committed to addressing those concerns.
Okay, Tyler Barrow reporting. Tyler, thank you. It is pretty perfect Stampede weather, so let's check in with Danielle. It's going to get really hot tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Today is that perfect day, the Goldilocks day. Not too hot, not too cold, a bit of a breeze to help things out if you're in the sun. But yes, tomorrow, some heat certainly builds in and we'll get into the 30s here in Calgary and well into the 30s in many other communities, south of Calgary, for example. 23 degrees is the temperature at the moment. The winds are relatively calm for the most part, but at times they get a little breezy. Let's go through these next 24 hours here. And basically, it's quiet this evening, nothing to talk about. It's stable thanks to a ridge of high pressure and will continue to remain stable for tomorrow. It's just that in the afternoon hours, the winds will pick up at times again, up to 40 kilometers per hour, but that will likely be welcomed in many cases because we're looking at a high of 30. More details in that longer range forecast coming up, Tara.
Thanks, Danielle. Alberta and Ontario are teaming up to study energy corridors between the two provinces. After the premiers flipped some pancakes this morning, they signed deals to reduce trade barriers and promote a pipeline. But it comes as a report says cutting red tape across Canada will actually do little to help the economy. Jordan Canagan explains.
After a morning of serving up Stampede pancakes, the premiers of Alberta and Ontario cooked up trade deals that could see a new pipeline and rail routes between provinces. Danielle Smith and Doug Ford signing memorandums of understanding to see more Ontario-built cars in Alberta and more Alberta alcohol in Ontario. And the two pledging to promote energy projects across the country.
Prime Minister Carney is no Justin Trudeau. He's a business mind. He's run massive multi-billion-dollar businesses, and he's bringing the business approach to the federal government that hasn't had that approach in the last 10 years.
Government officials will now study pipeline and rail routes that could bring energy products to ports in Ontario. They'll also continue to push the feds to foster a better environment for the private sector to invest.
There'll be a moment where the rubber hits the road. Like, you can only talk the talk for so long before you start putting some real action around it.
It comes as Canada and most countries continue to face American tariffs.
I love the U.S. I love the American people. But there's one person that's causing a problem right now, and that's President Trump.
But as Canada races to remove interprovincial trade barriers, a left-leaning think tank calls the actions political theater. A report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives says roadblocks between provinces are minimal already, and rushing to remove regulations could have negative effects.
What we're seeing right now is that the Trump threat to Canada's economy is being used to force through an agenda that has been long on the minds of certain Canadian businesses. It's an agenda of deregulation.
And Jordan joins us from McDougall Centre tonight. Jordan, there will be more trade talk tomorrow.
Tara, trade ministers and officials from the federal and provincial governments across Canada will be in Quebec City this week for meetings. And, of course, those meetings coming after the Prime Minister was here in Calgary over the weekend for several Calgary Stampede events. And Premier Smith says that's an opportunity for Mark Carney's government to hear directly from the energy industry about frustrations with certain legislation. And it was at one of those Stampede events that the Prime Minister said it is likely an oil pipeline to British Columbia will be on that short list of mega projects deemed to be in the national interest. Tara?
Okay, Jordan, thank you. Calgary-based WestJet Airlines rolled out its winter schedule this morning, adding 5 new destinations for Sunseekers. None of them in the United States. The new schedule adds Panama City, Panama, Guadalajara and Tepic in Mexico, Havana, Cuba, and Managua, Nicaragua to the company's list of destinations. The airline has also bumped up its Mexico City service to a year-round schedule. It is also adding 7 new routes, including direct flights from Calgary to both Cozumel, Mexico, and Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. The new Latin American and Caribbean offerings come at the same time travel to the United States has fallen sharply this year.
We have seen some decline in demand to the U.S., and as a result, we've redeployed some of our capacity into domestic markets across the Atlantic and to Latin Caribbean destinations. We've seen that demand situation stabilize, but it's hard to say how it's going to develop going forward. But we have a lot of confidence in the destinations that we're offering today.
Statistics Canada reports air travel to the States has declined steadily through 2025, falling by almost 25% in May.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
A young Calgary boy is celebrating his 4th birthday today, helping other kids at the Children's Hospital. This is Henry. He's a frequent visitor to the hospital himself. He's been there for dialysis, a kidney transplant, and weekly blood work. He noticed that the hospital was running out of Hot Wheels. Radio station CJ92 got involved and held a Stuff the Studio drive and filled every bare space of their studio booth with donated toy cars. They collected more than 20,000. Today, the first delivery was made at the Children's Hospital loading dock. Henry's family says they cannot believe the generosity of the community.
Henry and I decided that we would get some donations, and Henry was hoping for 11 cars. I thought maybe 100, but here we are with the help of CJ92 with over 20,000 cars.
I think one of the coolest things about this, honestly, is we're just the hands and the voice of it. The generosity of our rockaholics and Calgarians really showed up today.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Calgary. We couldn't have completed Henry's Hot Wheel Toy Drive without your support.
That is so awesome. The Children's Hospital cannot take all 20,000 cars at once, so just 3,500 were delivered today. AMJ Campbell is stepping up to provide storage for the rest and will deliver them to the hospital as needed. Just ahead on CTV News, a Calgary man found guilty of first-degree murder, and this is not the first time he has been convicted of killing a woman. Plus, a wildfire continues to grow in a BC community already destroyed once by fire. We're back in about a minute. Also, if you have a news tip anytime, you can text us at 10400. Terrible discovery in southern Alberta. The body of a 16-year-old girl was found in an abandoned vehicle, and police are treating it as a suspicious death. The discovery was made Friday just west of the village of Glenwood. That's about an hour southwest of Lethbridge. The RCMP Major Crimes Unit is now investigating. Police say an autopsy will be performed, but they are not releasing any further details. A Calgary man was convicted today of first-degree murder in the death of Judy Mars. This is the second time Christopher Dunlop has been convicted of killing a woman. The first was 16 years ago. He served time for manslaughter then, and this case drew some similarities, but the judge did not rely on that. Rather, the case put forward by prosecutors. Tyson Fedor explains.
These were some of the last moments of Judy Mars's life on February 15th, 2023. She's seen on CCTV leaving her apartment. She boards a bus and could be seen getting off around 10:30 p.m. near Forest Lawn. But ultimately, in the early morning hours of the next day, she was stabbed 79 times and her body was burned in Deerfoot Athletic Park.
And, I hope the decision today can bring some measure of comfort and closure.
Christopher Dunlop will spend life behind bars as Justice Colin Feasby found him guilty of first-degree murder as well as indignity to a human body. Feasby stated between CCTV images and cell phone evidence the conclusion that Mr. Dunlop killed Miss Mars was inescapable.
It was a very comprehensive decision in which he considered all the evidence that was heard in this very complex and tragic case.
Mars worked in Calgary's sex trade. In 2009, Dunlop was convicted of manslaughter in the death of another sex worker, Laura Furlan, who was strangled. He served his sentence and was released in 2022. Her mother was in court for the verdict, as were Mars's loved ones. Dunlop was married when he killed Mars, and in CCTV footage played in court, he is seen driving his orange pickup truck to the Peter Lougheed Center before exchanging it for his wife's RAV4 SUV. The judge called that a conscious and calculated choice. Dunlop also left his phone at home that evening to avoid being tracked. He set Mars's butchered body ablaze, as seen in this surveillance video. Police also found a drop of Dunlop's blood in the snow just meters away from Mars's body. Justice Feasby said that placed him at the scene of the crime. The defense asked sentencing be delayed, but it doesn't change much. A first-degree murder conviction comes with an automatic life sentence.
A sentence of life imprisonment with parole and eligibility for 25 years. That's what we'll be asking for.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
And Dunlop will be sentenced July 28th. Calgary police are making an appeal for more witnesses to come forward after a deadly crash on Stony Trail last week. On June 29th, a man lost control of his SUV near the Bow Trail interchange. The SUV crossed the median into oncoming traffic, hit another SUV. The 25-year-old man was thrown from his vehicle, hit a sign, and died at the scene. A woman driving the other vehicle suffered life-threatening injuries. Police are looking to speak to anyone who witnessed the crash, but say the drivers of two SUVs, one light-colored, the other dark, may have key information to help this investigation.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle back in as we look ahead to our 5-day forecast. A really hot day, but it's that kind of heat's not sticking around forever.
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? Today is reasonable before the heat. You know, it's really going to kick in tomorrow. And for some communities, south of Calgary, for example, it's going to last for a couple of days. So heat warnings are in place. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But before we get to the excessive heat, check out what's been quite nice for many communities today. 24 in Banff, 23 in Calgary, 26 in Drumheller, and Lethbridge and Pincher Creek, and 27 in Brooks and Medicine Hat. Milk River, Cranbrook, a little hotter at 28. Okay, here's where we have the heat warning in place. So this is to the east of Calgary, Strathmore, over to Brooks, down through Vulcan, Champion, over to Medicine Hat, Foremost, many berries. These areas are under the heat warning because we're looking at 2 days and 2 nights of that excessive heat. So no real relief even in the overnight hours, just dropping to those mid-teens. And that's for a couple days. And that's why we have that. For Calgary, though, we're looking at just a 1 day real heat up where we get into the 30s. So here's the ridge of high pressure, the jet stream on the edge of that ridge, and that's redirecting all the cloud cover and moisture up and around us for now. This pattern is going to slowly start to change. By the time we get into Wednesday, we're looking at this trough starting to move in. So this will start to impact the Calgary area on Wednesday. We'll notice clouds increasing, temperatures won't be quite as warm. And then on Thursday, it should impact all of Alberta, southern Alberta. But then the next ridge rolls in time for the weekend, and that will heat things up once again. I'll show you the long range and how it should play out in just a second. But first, the future cast. So basically, for tomorrow in Calgary, all of the south, we're looking at a lot of sunshine and a lot of heat. Let me fast forward, though, to Wednesday, and you can see the clouds will start to roll into the Calgary area, likely in through Lethbridge as well. And then we may see a little sprinkle here and there on Wednesday, and some rainfall possible on Thursday. So because of the more cloud cover, the ridge of high pressure not in place, a little unstable, but also we won't have temperatures be able to climb. So in the far southeast corner, they're looking at 2 days of daytime highs in at least 30. But for us here in Calgary, we're just looking at tomorrow. So 30 degrees is our high for tomorrow, mainly sunny skies, and then later in the afternoon, the gusts will pick up a little bit to 40 kilometers per hour. Wednesday, we'll have some cloud cover built in, only high of 23, and by Thursday, likely only 18 or 19 degrees. Again, we have the chance of showers at times Wednesday and Thursday, but then another ridge builds in for Friday, getting us up to those mid-20s. And then by Saturday, that puts us up into those high 20s once again. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. An evacuation order has been issued in northern Manitoba. Wildfires in the area are presenting an imminent danger to the town of Leaf Rapids. It's about 900 kilometers north of Winnipeg. The blazes are among dozens burning in the province.
There are 81 active fires burning in Manitoba today. We've had 235 fires to date. The 20-year average for this date is 187. Most of the province has a high fire danger level. We are following 16 fires that are near communities or have the potential to impact communities.
There are currently 7 states of local emergency, and 6 communities have been evacuated. In all, more than 6,600 Manitobans have left their homes. Officials say 141 personnel from outside of the province are helping fight the wildfires. An out-of-control wildfire continues to grow near Lytton. The now 245-hectare blaze, dubbed the Eisman Creek Fire, was sparked when an RCMP vehicle lost a wheel. It caused a fire in a grass-filled ditch, which eventually spread. The blaze has triggered an evacuation order as well as an alert affecting multiple properties in the area. And Alberta Wildfire says the fire danger is currently low across most of our province, but we are not out of the woods yet. Hot weather over the next day or so could make it easier for new fires to start or those still burning to flare up. The majority of the 44 active wildfires in Alberta are under control or being held. Only 13 are considered out of control. Still to come, the cost of grocery store staples is up, down just about every aisle. From milk to meat, we'll take a look at why we're being forced to dish out so much more to put food on the table. And you won't find this Canadian classic in any grocery store. Production stops for the Jersey Milk Bar. Those stories still ahead. We're getting a new snapshot of rising food costs, especially when it comes to putting meat on your plate. A new global food index has been tracking climbing costs and the reasons why some staples are taking a bigger bite out of the budget. CTV's Kamal Karmali reports.
This Toronto butcher shop,
I'll send my friend,
bustling on this Sunday.
This is such a treat today.
A rare treat because meat for some has become a luxury.
Definitely meat is more.
Just listen to how much some of these meats
something like oxtail
have gone up in price.
Prices have practically tripled
for myself.
The owner of this shop, Marlon Rosenbaum, feeling a bit raw about how much he's had to dish out for some cuts.
It's a tough time for small businesses. Everything costs more than it ever did before.
Meat, one of multiple items to see a price jump globally this month. The other items, vegetable oil and dairy. Meat now hitting an all-time high, up 2% since May, but rising more than 6% since last June. Vegetable oil also seeing a 2% increase since May, up 18% from last year. And although dairy only saw a 0.5% increase since May, it's jumped up 20% since this time last year.
We're seeing reduced production because there are fewer cows around. We've seen dry weather in North America in the last couple of years there's been less feed available.
Less feed available to raise cows not only puts the price of dairy on the rise, it means with a surging population, there's less to go around.
The world will be short 5 times Canada's national production by 2030, so that pressure will only increase.
But these global food prices don't always reflect Canadian food prices. Take vegetable oil, for example, surging in price globally, but in Canada, the cost has actually gone down.
We have excess supply of canola oil in this country, which is the predominant oil that we use.
All in all, people will still have to pay more for most foods. So what gives you hope to keep going?
I think just trying to keep in mind that good quality meat is something that there will always be a demand for.
Hoping that for these customers, locally sourced meat will still be a cut above the rest. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
After more than 100 years in production, the company behind Jersey Milk says the chocolate bars are being discontinued. The bars were first developed by dairy brand William Nielsen in 1924 and only produced in Canada. But production dropped after a series of acquisitions. A spokesperson for the company says the decision to drop the Jersey Milk bar came after a review showed that consumers prefer buying other pure milk chocolate bars. She also says the end of production will not result in any job cuts. Assembling furniture at home can put any relationship to the test, but this Alberta couple finds a bond building intricate and delicious gingerbread houses. We'll take a look when we return. A couple in Edmonton has just finished building a one-of-a-kind miniature model with several difficult yet delicious details. CTV's Connor Hogg has the love story made out of gingerbread.
We need some popcorn, don't we? Matt Intihar and Sheila Guevara are spending some quality time relaxing together. The couple often spends their time in a more unique way by making gingerbread houses.
Both of us inspired each other in doing a project because he's good at what I am not.
The pair was in a local bake shop when they saw a gingerbread castle built by the baker.
We thought, geez, that would be pretty neat if we could build something like that. I don't know if we're up to it, but we could give it a try.
Their first house was simple, so they decided to go bigger. At first, they planned to build a replica of the White House. They ultimately selected the Alberta legislature as their subject. Close to home and easier to research in person.
As time went on, we thought, hey, we can do this or we could add that on, and so slowly it became a bit more detailed as time went on.
Intihar and Guevara worked on their ginger ledge together and separately when their shift work schedules didn't allow for time together.
He come home, I'm sleeping, or I come home, he's sleeping. But I see, when I come home, I see something that he did. I'm like, oh, cool, I can do this.
After 6 months of gingerbread and marzipan, plus painstaking research, baking, sculpting, and resculpting, this is the result.
We managed to finish it, and we're pretty happy with how it looks. I mean, like I say, we're not professional bakers or anything.
I could have not done it by myself.
The happy couple are in the process of finding a place to display their work and also sharing what they learned about each other in the process.
He sits right there and he's just doing this little thing and little thing. It's kind of, looking at him, it's very heartwarming, and he's very graceful doing that, and it makes me push myself harder too.
I guess this kind of thing could pull people apart. Maybe they'd get fed up with each other, but I think for us it did. I think it did bring us together.
Yeah.
Two people who have found extra sweetness in their lives together. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
That's extremely impressive.
Because I would just eat it.
Impressive and delicious.
Yes.
All right, we're kicking trending off tonight with a paralyzed pup who still loves to run. Oh, look at him go. Hello, this is Monty. He lost the use of his back legs from a disc disease. But he doesn't know it, I don't think. He still loves to race his brother in his stroller. He thinks he's running, I think. His love of life hasn't slowed down, which has been an inspiration to his owners and the 7 million fans who've watched this video.
Over and over and over.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Look at his ears.
I know.
He's in this.
He's in it to win it.
Yeah.
That's very cute. Capybaras are known to be very friendly, very smart creatures. Here's proof we should probably also add very patient to their list of attributes. This is like having a younger sibling who just doesn't give up. They want you to play. They want you to play. They're just going to keep harassing you.
Yeah.
This little billy goat is kind of being a bully, but the calm capybara doesn't seem to mind the headbutt or the butt in this case, I guess. There's some padding on the capybara. I'm not even sure if he can feel that.
He's probably pretty annoyed.
He doesn't care.
He's just really nice.
Ugh. Finally, Tarzan takes on a T-Rex. Okay, the horse is named Tarzan. This elite equine just effortlessly runs and jumps whilst having a prehistoric predator on his back.
I mean, who thinks of doing this?
I don't know. Someone who obviously is already a good rider and is not worried about their line of vision being impaired by a T-Rex outfit, I guess.
Like that part.
And someone who trusts their horse. They just know, I'm not going to be able to see out of this thing, but I know that you know what you're doing. We're going to be okay. And someone with too much time on their hands.
Yes.
Still to come, stocks dropped dramatically today as Donald Trump threatens new tariffs on more than a dozen countries. Our business report is coming up.
All right, here's your Skywatch weather camera. It's a beautiful day. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. A bit of a breeze to help things feel a little cooler, but we're going to get into some heat tomorrow, at least 30 degrees for Calgary, and certainly higher than that for many other communities. I'll show you that in just a second. Today we got to 24, 23 is our current temperature and what's normal for this time of year. So kind of like Goldilocks, right where we should be, just right. Okay, when you look at temperatures in comparison to the rest of the country, pretty similar in all of the West. A little hotter in Toronto. Toronto got to 29 and Halifax got to 30. So those are some of the hot pockets in the country. Okay, looking at what's happening closer to home here across the province. 26 in Lethbridge at the moment, 27 in Medicine Hat, 26 in Pincher Creek, 24 in Banff, and yes, still 23 in Calgary. Okay, ridge of high pressure. We talked about this for the beginning of the week. Here's the jet stream. It's redirecting the clouds, the moisture up and around us to the south. It's stable. Temperatures will be able to build because of all that sunshine, so it's going to get hotter. Now, Calgary, for us, we're not under the heat warning because we're looking at 1 day of heat, temperatures in the 30s. But areas just off to the east and through Brooks to Strathmore, Brooks, down through Vulcan, Champion, over to Medicine Hat, Foremost, many areas. These areas are actually looking at 2 days of hot days and warm nights, so no real relief at night as you're only dropping into those mid-teens, which is why the heat warning is in place. It's really for the next couple of days. Hot for the southern interior BC, Kelowna looking at 34 degrees, Red Deer 30, Edmonton 31, and well into the 30s, as you can see right here for most communities. Calgary, Drumheller looking at 33, 32 for Lethbridge, and 34 for Medicine Hat tomorrow. All right, looking at that 10-day trend for us here in Calgary, again, it's hot for 1 day, but then we get some relief from that. We'll have some cloud cover, likely some showers Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, you're only looking at a high of 17 or 18. But then we bounce back into the 20s for Friday and the weekend. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. The death toll from flooding in Texas has climbed to over 100. Dozens of children from a summer camp are among the victims. In Calgary, more than 60 competitors at the Stampede Rodeo are from Texas. Some are now starting fundraising efforts. The new Cowboys park tent is no party for nearby residents. A noise bylaw exemption means loud music can play into the night, but the city has already received 16 noise complaints. And Ontario Premier Doug Ford signed trade deals with Danielle Smith in Calgary today. They agreed to work on new pipeline and rail routes and promote energy projects. Calgary's mayor met with the Prime Minister while he was stampeding in Calgary and touted our city as a key part of Canada's economic future.
There's always opportunity in a place like Calgary if we are going to be spending more nationally on defense. I think if we look at projects like Prairie Economic Gateway, where we want to ramp up industrial and manufacturing opportunities, this is the place to do it.
Margondeck emphasized the need to recognize both conventional and green energy sectors as national assets. The mayor is also seeking a federal partnership on the Prairie Economic Gateway. That project would see a massive manufacturing and warehouse district built just outside southeast Calgary city limits that would be served by rail. Elon Musk announced over the weekend that he will be creating a new political party in the U.S. It comes during an ongoing feud with his former ally, U.S. President Donald Trump, who is now weighing in.
Fusion. It really seems to have been developed for two parties. Third parties have never worked. So he can have fun with it, but I think it's ridiculous.
Musk took to his social media platform X, posting, "MAGA is in the past, woke is a distraction, the middle is the future. America Party is the party of the middle majority." Meanwhile, Tesla's stock took a significant hit today, with investors expressing skepticism about Musk's political aspirations. TikTok is pulling sponsorships for several Canadian art institutions as it prepares to wind down operations in Canada. The social media company is pulling out as a sponsor of the Juno Awards and the Toronto International Film Festival as it prepares to comply with the federal order to shut down. The company is still challenging the order in court. Meantime, in the U.S., TikTok is reportedly working on a new version of its app ahead of a major sale to a group of American investors. The change would potentially sever the app's connection to China by using a different algorithm.
The secret sauce of TikTok is its algorithm, and that really has been at the core of this controversy over these apparent national security concerns that lie at the root of why this law exists in the first place.
President Trump indicated talks with China on a possible TikTok deal could happen. Last month, Trump extended the deadline for a third time for TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its U.S. assets. Investors were rattled today by a renewed threat from the U.S. president to apply tariffs on a slew of nations if they don't agree to trade deals. BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has the latest.
Hello there. Canadian and U.S. stocks slipped today from those record highs that they hit on Friday. That's after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to slap import levies of up to 40% on nations including South Africa, Serbia, and Myanmar. Trump said Japan and South Korea, which are major trading partners of the U.S., face tariffs of 25% beginning August 1st. Auto imports are central to trade tensions with those two countries, the BBC said, and shares in Toyota and Honda fell about 2%. So far, Trump has announced framework agreements with the United Kingdom and Vietnam and a trade truce with China. On the markets, the Canadian dollar traded at 73.13 U.S. cents, down about 0.4 of a U.S. cent. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $68.01, up just over $1. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select has it at $54.91, down 62 cents. And the TSX Composite ended at 27,020.28, and it was a decline of just under 16 points. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
An Australian woman has been found guilty of murdering 3 relatives, including her in-laws, with deadly mushrooms.
She was always guilty in my eyes, no matter what. 3 people get killed amid a lunch. It doesn't just happen like that.
Erin Patterson served beef Wellington laced with poisonous death cap mushrooms to family members at her home back in 2023. It led to the deaths of the parents of her estranged husband and his aunt. Day 4 of the Stampede Rodeo is in the books. Coming up, Glenn will show us the fastest times and the highest point getters from this afternoon. Stay with us. The annual Running of the Bulls kicked off in Spain today with thousands of participants trying to dodge the animals in the streets of Pamplona. Runners decked out in traditional red and white attire ran ahead of the bulls on the cobblestone streets. The run lasted just 2 minutes and 37 seconds, with emergency services helping 6 people who had injuries to their arms and legs. It's day 4 of the Stampede Rodeo, and a whole new group of cowboys and cowgirls took to the infield. Glenn Campbell joins us from Stampede Park tonight. And Glenn, there seems to be a little more pressure this year.
Well, Tara, with only 3 competitors advancing from each pool, you can bet there's pressure each and every day. Let's check out the highlights from day 4. We'll start it off with a bareback as usual. That's Cooper Cook of Victor, Idaho. He's on Zastron Acres. What a ride to start the afternoon, combined for 88 points, and that was the best in the bareback. Ladies barrel racing now. We had some fantastic times out there today. Best of the day turned in by Megan McLeod-Sprague of Marsing, Idaho. Gets around those barrels in a blazing fast time of 17.11 seconds. She cashes a first place check of $7,000. What a great start to tie down roping. First cowboy out, Ty Harris of San Angelo, Texas. He had lightning quick hands, ropes and ties that calf in 6.7 seconds. That was the best of the day. Steer wrestling, and only one cowboy got under 4 seconds, and that was Cody Devers of Perryton, Texas. He gets that steer down in a very fast time of 3.7 seconds, and that's worth a first place check of $7,000. Outstanding day in the saddle bronc today. Damian Brennan of Australia. He's on Mary Jane. A great ride here worth 91 points. Best of the day, Big Valley Zeke Thurston. Not too far off. He had a 90.5 point ride today. Tough day for the breakaway ropers. Lots of penalties, no times out there, but that wasn't the case with Maddie Dearman of Hope, New Mexico. Great time of 2.7. That was the best of the day. And finally, the Big Bad Bulls. Fantastic day for the Cowboys to start off with some great scores out there. Grady Young's dad, Blade, rode bulls here in Calgary, and the 19-year-old following in his father's footsteps. 91-point ride on Splash Tide today. That topped all of the bull riders. Don't forget, it is night 4 of the Rangeland Derby. That gets underway in about, a half an hour time down here. Calgary Wild FC, they were on the road this afternoon in Halifax to take on the Tide.
Tries to find a way in on the ground. Big pass up, a header. It's a goal!
That was the only goal of the game, as Halifax's Megumi Nakamura scores in the 37th minute. Tide gets the 1-0 victory. Calgary only managed 1 shot on target in this match. They have lost 3 straight. The Wild sits in 5th place out of 6 teams in the Northern Super League, and they are back in action on Saturday, 5 o'clock at McMahon Stadium as they take on Vancouver. Tara, back to you.
Good stuff, Glenn. Thank you for that. Down at the rodeo today, but I know he was golfing on the weekend because he supplied you with a beautiful picture.
Glenn is everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors. Crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And Glenn sent this one in from the Glencoe Golf and Country Club. And
that's pretty
I don't know, if that doesn't make you want to learn how to golf, or just if you know how to golf, just go golfing.
Perfect shot.
Yeah. And tomorrow's a wonderful day for golfing, just to say that. It's just, a little hot.
Take some water.
Handle the heat when you get to enjoy it like that. Okay, let me get to this. Your Action Furnace 24-hour forecast. Action Furnace fixed right or it's free. 22 for the evening hours, 14 in the overnight hours. It's calm, it's quiet for the next 24 hours. Looking at a high of 30 at least for tomorrow with the humidity. You'll feel a couple degrees warmer than that. And it will be a little windy in the afternoon, which will help things out a little bit. Gusts out of the southwest at 40 kilometers per hour. So we can handle this, right, Tara? We like the heat.
No problem. Love it. Thanks for your company tonight. For breaking news anytime, go to our website. We'll see you again tomorrow.